So approximately 2:15 this afternoon, our 911 dispatch got a call for a fire type unknown in the area of Bellflower and Bear Valley Road. Initial report was unknown what was burning, but a lot of smoke in the area. Approximately 4 to 5 minutes later, they had a second report of a structure fire here in the Baldy Mesa area of the county area. They immediately upgraded the response to the unknown type fire they initially dispatched to a full structure response for a residential non-commercial fire. The area plotted, it started sending the Victorville units from Victorville Fire. They sent a full non-commercial structure response. It was later determined after the first couple units got on scene that it was in the county area and county's jurisdiction. So we then implemented our full county response for a structure fire to respond to help them. Based on the initial reports given from the Victorville units that arrived on scene first, they had a well-involved two-story structure that had spread into the vegetation, and with the winds up here in the high desert, that started to push the fire through the desert and through the vegetation. At one point, we did have a structure threat directly north of the incident. That was being able to be handled by the Victorville units to be able to secure those structures. Once that was identified, then a CAL FIRE response for the vegetation fire was started. CAL FIRE sent their full vegetation response. We basically branched the fire off. We had a structure fire with the units from County Fire in Victorville, and then the CAL FIRE units proceeded to, once they got on scene, take control of the vegetation fire, and they were able to secure the vegetation fire and prevent it from escaping any farther than it did. The vegetation fire, being pushed by the winds, basically went about a block to a block and a half north of the structure, but no other structures were lost at that point. We did have some issues with water sources in the area due to the hydrants being spaced out so far, as well as a lot of the structures to the north. Once the veg started taking off and going into the yards, we did have some structures that had some propane tanks that posed a problem to us. We were able to mitigate those without any release of hazardous materials in the area or damage to those tanks, so the residents will still have their utilities available to them. There was a structure in the back that early on, when the vegetation on the immediate lot first got started, that did receive extensive burn on the structure itself. Complete loss on that. At the time, the residence was unoccupied. We do not know if it is occupied normally. There was nobody home at the time. We were able to be flagged down by residents in the area that actually pointed the Victorville units that got here first on scene to the actual house that was on fire when they first got here. There wasn't really a complete collapse of the second story or part of the structure. Basically what happened was the fire had gotten enough oxygen to it and it burned hot enough that it started burning through the roof, and so that section of roof that burned through did come down into the second story. That helped fuel the fire on the second story, and which also fueled the heat inside the structure to where we weren't able to make access in and get up to the second story and actually put the fire out before it spread throughout the rest of the second story. Unknown at this time. We're still evaluating whether the structure is safe for our firefighters to go in and finish knocking down hidden spots inside the structure. Our investigator is on scene. He is starting his investigation. We don't have any preliminary reports what possibly could have happened or where it could have started. So until we can get actually inside the structure, we won't have a better picture or idea on that until that happens. No injuries that we know of from anybody that may have been here, if there was anybody here, and there are no injuries to firefighters currently on scene. Rapid response by all crews, by all departments, put this fire in its check quickly. As the season gets on longer and longer and these weeds dry out, this is going to be a common occurrence up here in the desert. So we want to tell people to be aware and be prepared. Clear the vegetation from around your house. Make sure you have that defensible space so that your house isn't something that we have to worry about. If we can push the fire around the house and just keep it to the vegetation, then at least you'll have somewhere to go home at night.